This story is a tribute to my mother, leaving. The first time I left my mother, I was 5 years old. I wanted to go out and play, but she said, "Not till you pick up your toys." Who could tolerate that kind of treatment? "I'm running away," I announced. "Running away? From home? Well, I suppose if you really want to go, I can't stop you." And she walked to the hall closet, took out my red coat. She stuffed the white mittens in the pockets and said, "You better wear these tonight. It's going to get cold. There's already a chill in the air. Tonight it will be cold, real cold." I frowned. She helped me on with my coat and buttoned me in. Then we walked to the porch. She opened the door, leaned down, kissed me on the forehead. "Take care, dear." She closed the door behind me. I heard the deadbolt slide into place. I stomped down the steps to the end of the sidewalk, past the picket fence, and I kept on walking till I was halfway to the corner. I'd never been past the corner before by myself. Suddenly I stopped as I realized I had no idea where I was headed. After a while, I turned around and walked back. I plopped down on the porch steps where I began to consider my immediate future. I heard a noise. The neighbor next door taking out her garbage. "Hello, honey," she called out to me. "What you doing?" My lower lip trembled as I told her, "I'm running away from home." "You are? Oh, well, I won't disturb you then." And she went back in her house. The sun started to set and it got dark, real dark, and cold, real cold. I began to feel a bit more generous. I walked up the steps and knocked on the door. My mother opened. I strolled in past her saying, "I'm giving you another chance." "Oh, that's what she said." She wrapped me in a warm hug. "How about a kiss?" Not feeling that generous yet, I turned aside and said, "My kisses haven't come in yet today." "Oh, well, go into the kitchen and help yourself. Supper's still out on the table. I'm sure you must be hungry." Yes, I was. Oh, and it smelled so good and it tasted even better. Whatever else Mama was, she was a good cook. And after I ate my fill, I hopped into my mother's lap and covered her face with kisses. "They just came in," I explained. "Oh, that's good. Now, go pick up your toys." I never ran away from home again. I left, but leaving is different. I remember leaving for first grade, a whole day of school. Oh, I didn't have far to go. Our house was right across the street from the school. And I remember running home at lunchtime. "Mom, Mom," I shouted. "You know, guess what I learned this morning? I can read, I can run." "Oh, honey, that's wonderful," she said. "I'm so glad. I wonder what you'll learn this afternoon." From early age, my mother instilled a love of learning. She celebrated every accomplishment. She taught me a lot about learning too. She said that it was important to keep a teachable spirit. It was only what you learned after you knew it all that mattered. And she said it was important to have both an educated mind and an educated heart. As a child, I never understood the implication of those words, but the older I grew, the more I understood the wisdom of her words. My school years went fast, and soon it was time for graduation and on to college. My mother helped me pack my boxes and bags and got me to the dorm. When I started putting away my things, I noticed that Mama had tucked notes inside the boxes. Inside my sweater box, the first note I found, "Precious, we are so proud of you." Oh, and notes in every box and bag. This certainly made putting my things away much more pleasurable. Each note was like a hug from Mama. I was lonesome for her and glad that I could pick up a phone and hear her voice. We stayed in touch by mail too, and Mama knew how to say "I love you" when the boxes arrived with peanut butter cookies, chocolate chip walnut, raisin oatmeal, and on Christmas, gingerbread and homemade peanut brittle. Yeah, what a nice way to say "I love you." Soon it was time for graduation and time to leave again. This time I got married and left, moved far away. Still, Mama and I stayed in touch by mail and phone. Our phone conversations always ended with "I love you." I called to ask about trivial things at first, like, "Mom, how did you make that chocolate cake with the fudge icing?" She sent me the recipe. And then there was the phone call when my heart was breaking and I sobbed to her, "Mom, I lost the baby." She came the next day. And the phone call I dreaded to make. "Mom, my marriage is over." She didn't cry. She asked no questions, assigned no blame, simply said, "Oh, sweetheart, I love you." And then I went back to my parents' house to get well inside, to be assured that I was loved and a person of great value. With my mother's encouragement and support, I began law school. "You'll make a fine attorney, dear." I would make a fine anything in my mother's eyes, but I tried hard. And then came time for one more leaving, a final leaving. This leaving, unlike all others. Before, leaving had been a matter of choice. Not this time. Before, leaving it had always been possible to stay in touch by phone or mail. We knew we would see each other again soon. Not this time. Before, it was always I who had left. Not this time. My mother died 10 days after she was diagnosed with cancer. It was not an easy death, but even in the midst of her pain, she was able to tell me one last time, "Precious, I love you." And then her earthly days were over. I went on living because that's what people do. I got out of bed each morning and did only what was necessary. I returned to law school and would soon become an attorney. But this was bittersweet knowledge because I knew my mother would not be there to share my joy with me. And I could not look in the audience and see her beaming face and see her telling all those around, "Yes, that's my daughter, my pride and joy." No. Mother had gone. But I was still her pride and joy. I was still her precious daughter. And Mother was gone, but part of her remained. She remained my moral compass, yes. And the words of wisdom that have served me so well in my life. So behave that when other people speak ill of you, no one will believe them. Good piece of advice. Yes, my mother was a fine role model, and that remains. When times got tough, my mother didn't complain or give up. No, she just dug in and found ways to keep her family happy and secure. When food was scarce, my resourceful, frugal mother learned to stretch food from one day to last through the next. If people were hungry, they knew where to come. I think my mother fed the hungry multitude one at a time. And she'd send them away with food too. Yes. My mother, with grace, played the cards she was dealt. Death of a child, the death of her husband, cancer. She faced them all. And her faith never wavered. One day I was going through her things, and did she have things and things and things and books, so many books. She told me her friends, some of her best friends were books. Well, I was looking at her books, and I picked up one and noticed that she'd written a quotation in the margin, a quotation which read, love is a very agreeable passion, and sometimes it is stronger than death. I know she believed that. And I believe that she had written it there for me to find one day after she was gone. She is gone, but not. I can see her smile in my memory. I hear the echo of her thoughts in my own. I feel her love when I love others. And this I do know. Love is a very agreeable passion, and sometimes it is stronger